algorithms, right? So as well as we have seen some examples also. In this lecture we have seen, we are going to be understand what are the way, how to measure the performance of an algorithm, okay? Yes. So in this lecture you are going to be understand the performance analysis, followed by we will see a step count method, which is you are going to be understand a step count method, how it will be used to measure the time complexity, okay? Yes. So coming to the syllabus of unit number 1, today we are going to be discussing analysis part, okay? So in the analysis, so as discussed in the previous lecture, so you are going to be measure the time complexity of an algorithm. You are going to be measure the performance of an algorithm in the form of two ways, time complexity as well as space complexity, okay? So what is meant by time complexity? The amount of time your algorithm is going to be needs to complete its execution. Now what is meant by space complexity? The amount of memory your algorithm is going to be occupied in your system to complete its execution time, okay? So first of all, today we will see how to measure the time complexity with various examples. In the coming lectures, we are going to be cover how to measure the space complexity of a particular algorithm, okay? Okay. So today we are going to be discussing about the main theme of time complexity, followed by the main theme of space complexity, followed by we will see one method which is available under time complexity, how to measure the time complexity for the algorithm, followed by we will see some examples on step count in detail, okay? So at the end of this lecture, you are going to be understand how step count method will be used to measure the time complexity of an algorithm. That is the main outcome of this lecture, okay? So before getting into the step count method, first of all you try to understand in how many ways you are going to be measure the performance of an algorithm, okay? So there are two methods which are available. First one is time complexity as well as space complexity, as I said previously, okay? So the time complexity is nothing but the amount of time which is required to complete its execution time, okay? Now, so the time complexity of a particular problem is denoted by T suffix P. So the T defines the time complexity, P is nothing but the time complexity for a particular problem P. So it is denoted by T suffix P, okay? So the time complexity is nothing but it is a combination of both compile time as well as run time. So in compile time you are verifying the syntax and semantics of your pseudocode, and in the execution time you are giving the valid inputs to get the proper output for your particular problem, right? Now coming to the space complexity, so it is nothing but the amount of memory that can be occupied in your system to complete its execution, okay? So as I said previously, we will cover this concept in a separate class. Now in this class we are going to be covering how to measure the time complexity of an algorithm. So you can measure the time complexity of an algorithm in two ways. First one is step count method, and second one is operation count, okay? So first of all we will see about step count method. So in the coming classes we will see about operation count, okay? Now we try to focus on what is meant by step count method, okay? So the operation of your step count method will be available in the name itself. What is the name of this method? Step count. So you are counting the number of steps which are available in your algorithm to measure the performance of your algorithm, okay? So now coming to the second method, which is operation count. So in this method you are measuring the number of operations which are available in your algorithm to get the time complexity. So likewise you are going to have two methods which are available. First one is step count method as well as operation count. Now we try to focus on what is the main theme of step count method. Okay. So as I said previously, in the step count method, you are going to be counting the number of instructions which are available in the algorithm. Okay. So first of all, in the step count method, your main task is to find out two parameters. First one is steps per execution parameter, and the second one is frequency parameter. Okay. So in the steps per execution parameter, you are finding whether the instruction which is available in the algorithm is executable or non-executable. Okay. So if it is executable instruction, then the steps per execution count value will becomes 1. Okay. Now what about the value for non-executable instructions? The value is going to be becomes 0. Okay. So this parameter will going to be accepts only two values, either 1 or 0. If it is executable statement, the value is 1. If it is non-executable, the value is going to be 0. Now you are going to be get a doubt like how to find out whether the instruction is executable as well as non-executable. Further, the various rules are there, we will see now. Okay. So for executable statements, the value is 1. For non-executable statements, the value is 0. Okay. Now we will see about the rules. We try to observe what are the rules which are required to measure the steps per execution method in step count method. Okay. So the first rule. So for the first rule, you are going to be have on statements. So the statements with initialization, the value is going to be 1. And for the statements with no initialization, the value is going to be becomes 0. So let us take an example. So here I am taking I equal to 1. So I hope you are aware about this is the example for assignment operation. Why? Because here colony is available as well as assignment equal operator is also available. So this I variable is initialized or not initialized? Initialized, right? You are initializing a value 1 to a variable I. Okay. So if initialization is available in the assignment statements, then the value is going to be 1. So if declaration is there, then you are not going to be considering. Why? Because the value is going to be becomes 0. Okay. Now coming to the second rule. So in the second rule, you are going to be have the step count value which is going to be 0 for comments as well as brackets. Why? Because it doesn't having any meanings, right? Okay. So these are not executable statements. Okay. Comments, brackets, and some keywords like begin, end if, end for, end where. For all these keywords, the value is going to be the step count value is going to be 0. So okay, you can ask a doubt like why for these keywords the value is going to be becomes 0. Why? Because these are the predefined keywords you are simply using. Okay, so for these keywords you are not writing any logic in your algorithm, right? You are simply using the predefined things. You are simply retrieving the logic. You are not writing the logic by your own for these keywords. Why? Because these are predefined. So that's why if you are using any predefined keywords, the value is going to be becomes 0. Why? Because you are simply retrieving, right? You are not writing your own logic for those keywords, right? Now coming to the third one. So for the statements, the value is going to be 0. So arithmetic operation, for all the arithmetic operations, the value is going to be becomes 0. For example, C equal to A plus B. So what is the operation that is available in the statement? Simply a arithmetic addition operation. So after performing addition operation, you are initializing the A plus B result into C. So for all the expressions or for all the arithmetic expressions, the value is going to be becomes 1. Now coming to the last rule. For the, as I said previously, for the assignment statement as well as function invocation, you are calling an algorithm in two ways, right? So directly you are calling, the algorithm is calling directly itself, or from one algorithm you are calling another algorithm. It is nothing but a function invocation. The function invocation can be done in two ways, right? So function can be called itself, or a function is calling another function. So for that function invocation, the value is going to be becomes 1. So as well as for the return statement, right? So after having particular number of function invocations, the results you must return to the calling function, right? So for that return statements, to return the results after performing a particular task, the value is going to be becomes 0. And for the keywords like break as well as continue as well as go to, the value also going to be becomes 0. 1. Now you can ask a doubt like why for these three keywords only? For these three keywords only, the value is 1. So as I said previously, why for these keywords the value is 0? So why? Because here you are going to be have a keywords like break, continue as well as go to. Okay, so these keywords will changing the behavior of the execution of an algorithm. Okay, so you take an example of break. So whenever break keyword came into the picture, ultimately the execution of an algorithm is going to be halts. Okay, so whenever you are encountering a go to statement, ultimately the control of an algorithm will moving from one place to another place. Now coming to the continue, whenever the algorithm will encounters a continue keyword, ultimately the current execution is going to be skips. So for these keywords only the value is going to be 1. Why? Because these three keywords will changing the behavior of the execution of your algorithm. That's why the value is going to be becomes 1. Okay, so I hope you got the clarity. Now coming to the, as of now we have seen the definition of a time complexity, as well as the time complexity is nothing but the sum of the both compile time as well as run time, and for the executable statements in step count the value is 1, and for non-executable statements the value is 0. Okay. Now let us discuss about the examples. So initially I am going to be discussing about an example which is sum of how to perform the sum on the elements which are available in the array. Okay. You try to focus on an example. Here I am taking an example of an array with simply 3 elements. Okay. So I just want to perform an addition of operation on this array, which is the named as A. Okay. So initially my sum is 0. Okay. So ultimately you need to trace all the values which are available in the array or not. Okay. So how many elements which are available in this array? 3 elements. So you need to trace all these 3 elements or not. So to trace all these 3 elements, you require a for loop. Okay. So the for loop will going to be trace all the values which are available in the array one by one, index by index. So initially the sum is going to be 0. Okay. For the first iteration, I am performing addition operation with my sum variable to the first index. So that is going to be 0 plus 2. Ultimately the result is going to be for every iteration I am updating the sum variable. Okay. So after completion of first iteration, the sum value will be updated as 2. So now it will be sum with the second element which is available in the array. So now the 2 will be replaced as by 5. Why? Because 2 plus 3 is 5. So at the last iteration, the 5 element is going to be sum with the last element which is available in the array. So now the 5 will be converted as 9. Why? Because 5 plus 4, which is 9. So likewise you need to trace all the elements which are available in the array to get the complete sum, or to get the entire sum of elements which are available in the array. Now we try to focus on how the algorithm is going to be constructed. Okay. Now later we are going to be focus on how to get the values for steps per execution, as well as how to get the values for frequency, so that you can have a capability to get the total steps. Okay. Now try to observe this algorithm. Okay. So this algorithm is going to be taking how many parameters as an input? 2 parameters as an input, right? So first parameter is an array, and second parameter which is telling about the size of the array. Okay. So as I said previously, initially my sum is 0. Okay. So to trace all these n elements which are available in the array, I am taking a for loop, which is going to be starting from 1 to n. So you need to trace all the elements which are available in the array, right, from first element to the last element. So that's why I have taken a for loop. And what is your main target? To get the sum. Okay. For that purpose, I am simply taking a simple arithmetic addition operation. For every iteration of this for loop, so I am retrieving the value of corresponding index which is available in the array. So that value will be updated to my s variable. Initially my s variable is 0. Okay. So likewise for every iteration I am trying to update the s value. So after completing the execution of my for loop, I am going to be returning the result with the help of a statement return s. Okay. Now we try to focus on how to update these 3 parameters. Okay. So the first parameter is steps per execution. The first parameter is steps per execution. Second parameter is frequency, and the third parameter is total steps. How to get the total steps? Simply multiply the first parameter as well as second parameter. Okay. The sum of all the values which are available in the third parameter will be considered as the total time complexity of this sum of elements in an array algorithm. Okay. Now first of all you try to focus on how to update the first parameter. So what is your first parameter? Steps per execution. So in that parameter, how you are updating the values? So you are going to be updating the values for the first parameter based on the executable statements or non-executable statements. If it is executable statement, the step count value is 1. If it is non-executable statement, the step count value is going to be becomes 0. Now we try to find out whether how many instructions are available in this algorithm. Total 7 steps are there. You need to calculate the first parameter, second parameter for all these instructions or not? Yes, right? Now go to the step number 1. So step number 1, what you are having? Simply a algorithm heading. It is simply a non-executable statement, the value is going to be 0. Okay. Now coming to the second step number 2. So you are going to be having a braces. What is the value for the braces? Simply it is a non-executable statement, the value is 0. And coming to the step number 3, here you are going to be have a initialization operation. You are initializing a 0 value to a variable s, like this. Okay, so it is an executable statement or non-executable statements? Definitely it is an executable statement, the value is going to be 1. Now coming to the fourth instruction, what is the fourth instruction you are having? For loop. So you are tracing the values which are starting from 1 to n of a particular array. So definitely it is going to be executable statement, the value is going to be becomes 1. Okay. Now coming to the fifth instruction, simply you are performing a arithmetic addition operation. So if you are performing any arithmetic operation, then it will be considered as a executable statement, the value is going to be becomes 1. Now coming to the step number 6, you are simply returning the result. Okay, so if you are returning any result, then ultimately it is a executable statement, the value is going to be becomes 1. Now coming to the last step number, so the step number 7 you are going to be having a braces. So these are non-executable statement, the value is going to be becomes 0. So likewise you are going to be update the value for the first parameter like this. Okay, so first you try to apply the rules to get the time complexity of an algorithm by your own. Okay. Now coming to the second parameter. So what is the second parameter you are having? Frequency. What is meant by frequency? Which is going to be related to our algorithm. So the frequency which tells how many number of times the instruction is going to be the particular instruction is going to be executing. Okay. So try to focus on how to update the values for frequency. Okay. Now can you tell me one thing? What is the value for the frequency for the step count value 0? So if the step count value is 0, what is the meaning of that one? Simply it is a non-executable statement. So if it is a non-executable statement, ultimately the frequency also going to be becomes 0. Okay, so we are finding the frequency for the statements which are having the step count value as 1 under parameter number 1. Okay. Now coming to the second parameter, try to focus on how to update the second parameter, which is frequency. Okay. So what is the step number 1 you are having? It is an executable or non-executable? Non-executable. So if it is non-executable, then ultimately frequency also going to be becomes 0. Okay. And for second step number also. Okay, we are calculating the frequency for the executable statements only, not for non-executable. Why? Because if it is non-executable, ultimately there is no meaning for that one, right? No. Now coming to the third step number, you are performing initialization operation on the step number 3. How many number of times? Only one time you are initializing. So ultimately the frequency is 1. You are initializing the s value only one time. Now coming to the step number 4. So what is the step number 4 you are having? A for loop, right? Okay. So now how many number of times this for loop is executing? So the for loop which is starting from 1 and it is executing up to n number of times. Now can you tell me what is the frequency of this step number 4? The frequency is going to be becomes n. So if you observe clearly, try to have more concentration. If you observe very clearly, this for loop is having what is another instruction? So along with this first value of 1 as well as a value number 2 of n, it is also having a assignment statement. Okay, so the frequency for every for loop is this for loop is executing n number of times, as well as it is having one time one assignment operation. Okay, together the frequency is going to be becomes n plus 1, not n. Don't get confused. Okay, so this for loop is having 2 instructions. So one is how many number of times your for loop is executing. Along with that one, we are going to be updating the I value. Together it is n plus 1, not n. Okay. Now coming to the step number 5. How many number of times this step number 5 is executing? This step number 5 is available inside a for loop. Ultimately the execution of step number 5 is depending upon the upper bound of the for loop or not. So the frequency for the step number 5 is n. N number of times this statement is executed. Now coming to the statement number 6, instruction number 6. How many number of times you are returning the result? Only one time. So after complete execution of this for loop, so you are returning the result of the value which is available in the S variable. So only one time you are returning, so the frequency is going to be becomes 1. Now coming to the last instruction, the last instruction is a not executable statement. Ultimately the value is going to be becomes 0. Okay. Now we try to focus on how the second parameter is updating. So the second parameter is updating like this. Okay, so we try to concentrate on the frequency for the for loop is n plus 1, not n. Okay, n number of times the for loop is executing and one time you are doing assignment operation. Now it is very easy to update the third parameter. Why? Because you try to apply multiplication operation on first parameter as well as second parameter to get the total steps. So 0 into 0 is 0, 0 into 0 is 0, 1 into 1 is 1, 1 into n plus 1, n plus 1, 1 into n, n, 1 into 1, 1, 0 into 0 is 0. So likewise, to get the total time complexity of this algorithm, you try to sum all these values. How many n's are available? Here one n is available, here second n is available. N plus n, 2n. How many ones are available? First one is available here, second one is available here, and third one is available here. So 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 3. Okay. So the total time complexity of this algorithm is going to be 2n plus 3. Okay. Likewise, you are trying to get the total time complexity of an algorithm with the help of step count method. We are counting number of steps which are available in the algorithm based on the steps per execution parameter as well as frequency parameter. Right. Now we will see some more examples. Okay. So if you observe this algorithm, so this algorithm is having how many instructions? 6 instructions are there. So among 6 instructions, what are the executable statements? So among 6 instructions, what are the executable statements? So step number 3, step number 4 and step number 5 are executable. So remaining step number 1, 2, 6 as non-executable. If it is non-executable, the step count value is 0. If it is executable, then only you are getting the value, right? So at step number 3 as well as 4 as well as 5, simply you are having a assignment operation, right? That's why this algorithm is named as simple algorithm. Simply you are performing a arithmetic addition operation and you are trying to update the values. Okay. So now if you apply the step count method to get the time complexity of an algorithm with the help of steps per execution as well as frequency as well as total steps, the values are going to be updating like this. Okay. And to get what is the total time complexity of this algorithm? 1 plus 1 plus 1. So the total time complexity is 3. It is a constant time. Okay. Now coming to the third one. So in the third one, you are going to have a matrix addition. So how you are performing a matrix addition operation? So to get a matrix addition operation, so you are going to be having 2 arrays as an input, and the result you are storing to C. Ultimately, the input arrays A and B are having particular dimensions m by n. So m defines number of rows and n defines number of columns. So you are applying arithmetic operation on the 2 input arrays of A and B with the help of dimensions of m as well as n. So after performing arithmetic addition operation on these 2 input arrays, the result is updating to output array C. Okay. So how many, first of all, to perform this arithmetic addition operation, how many for loops you required? Total 2 for loops you required, right? So the first for loop will trace about the number of columns, and the second for loop is required to trace about number of rows, right? So likewise, you are going to be tracing the number of columns as well as the rows which are available in the array. Okay. Now we try to focus on how the algorithm is going to be. So this algorithm is having 5 parameters as an input. Okay. So A, B will be act as an input and C will be act as output, and m defines number of rows and an n defines number of columns. Okay. So likewise, I am going to be taking 2 for loops to trace the number of rows as well as columns. So rows are available with m, columns are available with n. So after tracing the step number 3 as well as 4, at step number 5, you are going to be have a simply arithmetic addition operation to get the sum of all the values which are available in the input array A as well as B. So after performing addition, I am going to be updating to C. Okay. So now I try to focus on how to update the first parameter, second parameter as well as third parameter. Okay. So first of all, you try to focus on how to update the first parameter. So among these 6 statements, what are the statements which are executable? So the third instruction which is executable, and fourth instruction which is executable, as well as fifth instruction also executable. Remaining instructions are non-executable. What is the value for the non-executable? Ultimately the value is 0. So likewise you are going to be updating the value for first parameter. Now we try to focus on how to update the second parameter, which is frequency. Now can you tell me what is the frequency for the third instruction? How many number of times this for loop is executing? M number of times. Along with this, inside this for loop, you are having one assignment operation, right? So one time you are doing assignment operation, and m number of times you are executing this for loop. So together the frequency is m plus 1. Okay. Now coming to the fourth instruction. Fourth instruction also you are having a for loop, right? But this for loop is available where? Inside this for loop. Okay. So the execution of this inner for loop will depend upon the outer for loop, which is available at step number 3. Okay. So the frequency for the step number 4 is how many number of times the inner for loop is executing? Ultimately n number of times. Along with that one, you are having one assignment operation together, which is n plus 1. But if you observe here, the execution of this inner for loop will depending upon the outer for loop or not. Okay. How many number of times the outer for loop is executing? How many number of times the outer for loop is executing? M number of times. Then what is the frequency for the inner for loop? Which is n plus 1. Okay. Together the frequency for the inner for loop is m of n plus 1. Why? Because n number of times your inner for loop is executing, and inside inner for loop you are having one assignment operation, as well as the execution of this inner for loop will depending upon the execution of outer for loop. So together it is going to be m of n plus 1, not only n plus 1. Okay. So if this for loop is available separately, then the frequency is n plus 1. If there is a dependency, you need to carry. Okay. Now coming to the fifth instruction. This fifth instruction is available where? Inside these two for loops. So ultimately the execution of the fifth instruction is depending upon these two for loops or not. Okay. So how many number of times outer for loop is executing? M times. And how many number of times the inner for loop is executing? N times, together which is m into n. Okay. So likewise, first of all you need to trace the algorithm to update the values like this. Okay. So the frequency for the third instruction is m plus 1, and the frequency for the inner for loop is m of n plus 1, and the frequency for the statements which are available inside these two for loop is m into n. Okay. So now we try to update the third parameter by applying the multiplication operation on first parameter as well as second parameter. So the values are going to be updating like this. So by observing the third parameter, how many mn's are available? Here first mn is available, here second mn is available. Mn plus mn, which is 2mn. How many m's are available? 2 m's are available. M plus m is 2m, and 1 m is available. So the total time complexity is going to be 2mn plus 2m plus 1. So like this you are going to be get the total time complexity. Okay. Okay. As of now, we have discussed various examples on step count method, how to measure the time complexity of a particular algorithm, right? So in the example 1, we have seen how to get the sum of all the elements which are available in an array. In this example number 2, we have seen a simple assignment operation, and in the example number 3, simply we have performed matrix addition operation. Okay. So that is a main theme behind this lecture, and in addition to these examples, here I am going to give an exercise for you, which is going to be the transpose algorithm. This is going to be accepting three parameters as an input. Okay. So what is the main theme of transpose of an array? Simply you are converting rows into columns, columns into rows. Okay. So you are applying that arithmetic operation on a simple one input array. Okay. So, second parameter as well as third parameter, which is going to be defines the dimension of a input array, which is A. Okay. So, M defines number of rows and N defines number of columns. Okay. To trace the number of columns as well as number of rows, you required how many for loops? 2 for loops. So, the first for loop execution is depending upon number of rows parameter, which is M, and the execution of inner for loop will depends upon the third parameter, which is N, nothing but number of columns. Okay. So, the main logic behind inside these two for loop is the columns as well as rows which are available in the input array, I am going to be converted to rows as well as columns in a temporary array, which is T. Okay. So, likewise the dimensions which are available in the array will be moved to a temporary array T. How it is going to be possible? The rows columns of A will be changed to columns and rows of T, or the columns as well as rows of A will be converted as rows as well as columns of temporary array T. Okay. So, you try to take this algorithm as an assignment, and you try to measure and you try to apply the step count method to measure the performance of this algorithm. Okay. So, in the coming lectures, we will see some more examples on step count method for better understanding. Okay. Thank you. That is the end of this lecture.